So we're looking here at what I call the line through 1 or 2 points using slope. If it's 1 point, they have to give you the slope, but if it's 2 points, you have to find the slope and then pick a good point to work with. We're going to start with this one, find the equation of the line going through the point. The point we'll go through here is -2, 3. And the slope here will be -3. So we got y equals mx plus b. If we remember that that is the equation of the line, y equals mx plus b is going to be playing a big role in a lot of the work we do. That's y equals slope x plus intercept. So I'm going to write that here, y equals mx plus b. And then I guess we should get used to hearing it, maybe used to seeing y equals x plus, and slope x is perfect. Right? Plus, when I say intercept, it actually means a lot more than that in terms of words. It does mean the y-coordinate of the y-intercept, but I'm not going to say all that. We're going to go with intercept. It's certainly intercept-based knowledge that comes from b. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to say, what's my exact value of y? That's a 3 equals. Now m I know is the slope, and here we're going to have -3. Now what's my exact value of x? It's -2, so I've got to multiply by that -2, and then we're going to add on b. Y equals mx plus b. I don't know b, but the other 3 go in as numbers. Now we have 3 equals -3 times -2. We get the opposite of negative for positive. 3 times 2 is 6, and we add on b. Now we'll subtract 6 off each side, get that gone, and we go 3 minus 6 for -3. That's our value for b. Looking good, because now I can work with all this stuff. I can say y equals slope x plus intercept. Now the slope is in red, and I found it from them. It was an easy get for me, and I went -3. Y equals -3x plus b, right? I found b to be -3. Right there, -3 is what my b is equal to, so I'm going to put that there. And that means that -2 for x and 3 for y should work out to the truth. And if I put -2 in here, I get 6 minus 3 gets me 3, y is 3. Perfect. That's done. So that's one of our problems that we'll do here. Y equals mx plus b. That had no fractions for us to deal with. So that's cool. And we're going to do the same process. You'll see several of those in your homework. I'm going to do the same process. I want to leave that there, right? And I want to get a different set of things in here. I want to get a different point. And I want to get a different slope. Here we go. Slope's going to go in as -3/4. So we're going to make people work with fractions. So when you're struggling with the fraction one, you probably want to take a good look at this one. This one is going through the point -2, 0. That might look tempting, but it's not as good as it might initially appear. That is not telling me b. It's telling me, if you want to know the truth, it's telling me a, the x-intercept. That's not a direct consequence to get this problem done. I can't just stick the -2 somewhere and have it work. So I'm going to use them as they show up. The y that I found here is 0 equals. Now the slope that I get from this is -3/4. And the x that they gave me here is -2. So I do have to multiply by -2 before I go ahead and add the unknown value of b. I'm going to be looking for that. So 0 doesn't change, but I actually have to do some work here. I got to do -3 times -2. That becomes the opposite of negative for positive, and it gets me 6/4 plus b. Now that's actually, I can reduce 6/4 to 3/2 plus b, and that's pretty good because now I have options. I can multiply all the way through by 2 and find out that 0 equals 3 plus 2b and all that and work it out. But also I have the option to just come over here and subtract 3/2 off both sides. And that does exist and can also be done on the calculator. And I'm going to get -3/2 equals b. So I'm going to go ahead and work it out that way. So now y equals slope x plus intercept, right? Slope was the value they gave me, -3/4. X plus the intercept, which is -3/2. And for what they're looking for, I got it. I want to reach out a little bit here and help you with something else. If they ask this to come in ax plus by equals c form, let's take our 1/1 in front of y equals, we got our -3/4 space x plus our -3/2. This just seemed like a unique opportunity here. The opportunity here is to clear the fractions with a 4 and a 2. I don't need an 8, I just need a 4 to do the job. So the LCD here will be 4/1. Now multiply each of those terms by 4 over 1 and get different cancellations in different places. Black 4 divided by 4 is 1. Green 4 divided by 4 is 1. Black 2 divided by 2 is 1. Green 4 divided by 2 is 2. We get 4y equals negative 3 times 1 with an x plus negative 3 times a 2 for negative 6. I'm going to add the 3x to both sides to get what I need for ax plus by equals c form. 3x plus 4y is equal to negative 6, and that should still be holding all the same points as what I found over here. But now it might be easier to put in negative 2 for my x and get negative 6 plus 4 times 0 plus 0, and I get that. And that is how we would get ax plus by equals c form. I sprinkle that around throughout the homeworks and the lectures so you can see how to do it. And that might allow you to stay clear of needing to work a lot with the slope, with the point slope approach. So now we've got a couple of other problems, 2 problems of the same type, actually 3 problems of the same type to wrap up this homework for what I'm doing here, but it's going to try and cover the work that you need here. So I'm going to take down that, I'm going to remove that point as an exact point, and I'm just going to throw an s in here. Put the first blank for the first point and another blank for the second point. And now we're going to take on this kind of problem where I'm going to give you 2 points to work with. You got to find the slope. You can use the formula if that's the way you do it, but we got to find the same slope, the same sign and the same reduced fraction as I get for slope, or one of us is wrong. And if a bunch of you tell me that you think I'm wrong through email, maybe I made a mistake, but in all likelihood, you made a mistake if you don't get the same slope that I get here. If you know what's going on and you watch me do it, you can find where I made my mistake, then you're good. Maybe what you did is better, but I'm not a huge fan of formulas. So we've got the 0.56 and the 0.41. And so for me to get that done, I got to write my 5,6 and my 4,1. And my 6 goes down to get to 1. But it doesn't go through 0 to get to 1. So it takes a short trip. It's definitely going down, but 6 minus 1 is a short trip of 5. Now over here, 5 to 4, also going down from 5 to 4. They're both positive. It does not go through to 0. I get a short trip. M equals negative 5 over negative 1. I might as well show it now. I promised it all those times. What if the 4,1 was written first and the 5,6 was written second? Well, then that would be up. It's still 5. That would be up. It's still 1. And M equals 5 over 1. And without any negatives in sight, you're going to get 5. So the slope comes out the same. This slope is 5. It's not wrong. I'm not in a rush to erase it, but I'd sure like to have that space. So I'm going to erase it. What it showed was you get the same slope whichever point you pick to go with as first point. Now, there's my slope. I think this will be easier to work with. Just a little smaller. I don't have my calculator out. So M is equal to 5. I know my Y value is equal to 1, and my X value is equal to 4. So I go Y of 1 equals M times X, 5 times 4 plus B. And now I get 1 equals, that's 20, plus B, and I'll subtract 20 off each side. Negative 19, right? We subtract for 19, strong on the negative is B, and we're going to get Y equals X plus. Now I'll get back to the colors for you, because I might, if you wanted to graph it, you'd have that option as well. But what we have here is M was 5. I had to work for it, but I knew it pretty early, and B is negative 19. And each of the 2 points should work on this. Now, if I wanted to get this into ax plus by equals c form, I would subtract y off both sides and add 19. I'm not going to do it, but I would let you know that's possible. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a 5 for x, get 25 minus 19. I better get a 6 for y. I did. I'm going to put in a 4 for x. 20 minus 19. I better get a 1 for y. I did. Those both work. That's a guarantee that this is the perfect values for both m and b. No other pair of values, no other value can go in for m, no other value can go in for b and have it work for both. So we got that going for us, which is nice. And now I'm going to go with this one, start up a new one, kind of the same thing. Let's make it a little bit more challenging to the way we have to find our slope, right? So those of you who are using the formula can really see if there's a reliability to what you're getting out of the formula. Because I'm going to go 6, negative 4, and negative 7, 1. First thing I have to do is somehow or other properly get the value of the slope. So if I go 6, -4, and -7, 1, -4 to 1. I'm going to do this without writing on there, but hopefully you can write it if you need it to draw that this goes from -4 to 1. To get from -4 to 1, I have to go up. To go through the 0, I need a big trip. So 4 and 1 and a big trip is 5. The other one, 6 to -7, I'm going down to get from 6 above ground to below ground. I got to go downward to make that happen. And this is a big trip. 6 plus 7 will get me 13. M equals, we may not like it, but it's 5 over -13, so it's negative, and it's a fraction. You'll notice I did slide the negative up, so I say it right away when I'm describing this slope. So M is -5 over 13. That's what the slope should be. If you did the formula and got -5 over 13, a negative value of 5 over 13, then we're good. I think I'll go with 6, -4. No big deal. Either one is about equally difficult. My y value is -4, and my x value is -6. And so -4 is equal to -5 over 13 times -6 plus b. -6 goes over 1. I'm going to multiply that out and see what I get. -4 equals 30. -5 times -6 is opposite of negative for positive. 5 times 6 is 30. 30 over 13. You better listen carefully, or it sounds like they're the same. They're not. One has an n on the end, right? Plus b. Dang. -4 over 1 equals 30 over 13, leave space, plus space in front of my b. And I need to get rid of the fractions here. 13 is the only denominator I have, so it's the lowest common denominator. And I'm going to multiply by 13 over 1. 13 over 1. 13 over 1. This is one way to go after it. You could also use your calculator to find out what it is as a mixed number, convert it to an improper fraction. You'll pretty much be there. -52, no canceling. This 13 cancels with that 13 equals 30 plus 13b. I am going to now try and get that 13b alone. I'm going to subtract 30 off each side. And this is gone, and I'm going to get -82. 13b. So let's see what happens here. Now, I think I got a different answer on paper. I'm going to check, though. What I got here is -82 equals 13b, and divide by 13. Therefore, b equals -82 over 13. Either I did it wrong on paper once, or I just did it wrong here. Let me just check how I did for the slope. I got -5 over 13 for the slope, so let's see how it goes. Pretty pleased with that. Oh, the 6 here is positive. Okay, so we caught it. So what we're going to have to do is go and trace these through. I'm going to use red to trace them through. My purple isn't in yet. I'm waiting for it to come in, and it takes a while for them to deliver stuff these days. I don't blame them. It's a tough gig out there. This 6 was positive, so I'm going to switch it up to red. Okay, that makes this 30 negative instead of positive, which makes the 30 negative here, 30 negative here, and we add 30. And therefore, instead of getting -82, I do still get a negative. I get -22. So now I'm going to come up here with -22 where the -82 was. It looks like b is going to be -22 over 13. Let me take a peek at that against what I did yesterday. I either got it, wrong twice, or it's now okay. All right. That means that this nastiness created a situation where we got y equals slope x plus intercept. The intercept I just found to be this thing, -22 over 13. And that can happen. Just because you got nice looking numbers to start with doesn't mean you're going to get a nice group of numbers for y and for m and b. Because m turned out to be -5 over 13. That might be right. It does seem like what I had last time I did it. I'm going to put my box around it. And I think what we should do, here's a great opportunity for us to convert that to ax plus by equals c form. I'm going to take my 1y, 1 with space between it and y, equals -5 over 13 with space behind it and then the x, plus -22 that's got space behind it. Now 22 is over 13. And here we go. The only denominator that's not 1 is a 13. It's there twice, but it's 13. So I'm going to go ahead here and say my LCD is 13. And let's go ahead and do that with green, because the red's already kind of spoken for here. And I'm out of blue, so I'm waiting for that to come in also. 13 over 1. So we put our 13 over 1 there with no canceling. 13 over 1 here will cancel 13s. 13 over 1 here will cancel 13s. Black 13 divided by 13 is 1. Green 13 divided by 13 is 1. Black 13 divided by 13 is 1. Green 13 divided by 13 is 1. What we come out of here with is 13y equals negative 5 times 1 is 5 with an x, plus negative 22 times 1 with no variable on it. Now they want us to get this into ax plus by equals c, and they like a positive value to lead off. So I'm going to go add 5x to both sides, start a new column out here, and I'll get 5x plus 13y equals negative 22, and that is ax plus by equals c form. I might find it easier to check it this way, because 6 going in there, 6 times 5 is 30, negative 4 times 13 is 52. 30 minus 52 actually is negative 22. I don't have to do fractions all the way through that. Negative 7 times 5, negative 35, plus 13. 35 minus 13 is 22, strong on the negative. That is perfect. This is good, that is good. We got the right problem done here, the right answer for it. Now, I made that one mistake, no lie, but that's what's going on. One more problem, and this one looks weird, okay? It doesn't mean it's hard to do, it's just that they don't really clearly tell you exactly what to do. If you got used to this, you say, I need to know 2 points on there, and then I can get after finding the slope, and once I find the slope, I can get in there and use one of the 2 points to one of my choice to get in and find the value for b. All true, but here's the way this guy looked. It shows up on graph paper, right? Let's see how they want us to do that. They want us to go 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they want a point right there, and then they want negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, negative 1. And they used to have those kind of sitting on graph paper, and they'd have the blue line and all the stuff that they used to do. And I remember when these first came out on the computer programs, they would say, find the equation of this line. And people would be like, how do I know what point to use? Well, they'd say, pick one. And that just met with a lot of people going like, what? So now what they did is they give you pretty much the same point, and then they put these points, they beef them up, and they tell you that this point is 2, 4. And they don't expect you to read their mind and find that that's perfect. But even in the olden days, before they put the dots, 2, 4 was a perfect point. And then this one over here, negative 3, 1, was a perfect point on their graph. And they might ask you to find the equation of the line. I don't know how wonderfully I drew this graph. Let's find out, because that looks like it does not cross the y-axis at a really pleasant value for b. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our 2, 4 and our negative 3, 1. And we should get a positive slope. It's going uphill. We'll see. 4 to 1, right? This thing that's going from 4, let's see. Oh, but that's negative 1. Look at that. Okay, so they maybe got us with that. Let's see. Okay, negative 1. So we're good. 4 to negative 1. Now it's going to work out okay. And I'm not sure I drew it perfectly, but I think I did all right. 4 to negative 1. It's definitely going downhill to go from positive to negative, and it's going through the 0. So 4 to 1 is a big trip of 5. 2 to negative 3. So now what we look at is the 4 goes all the way down to negative 1. This thing starts at 4 and drops down here. And that is my negative 5. I'm going to grab green to do this other one, because it's going to go from 2 back across there. I'm going to do 2 here and 3 here. This is going to be another negative 5. Therefore, we're going to get m is equal to negative 5 over negative 5. That is a double negative of 5 over 5, commonly known as 1 over 1, or just 1. M equals 1. Pick one of the points. How about 2, 4, so we don't have negatives? We grab this point to work with, and we say y equals 4, and x is equal to 2, and we go on after it. We go for 4 equals 1 times 2 plus b. 4 equals 2 plus b. We subtract the 2 off each side. Strangely, we get another 2. 2 equals b. Y equals 1x plus 2, or y equals x plus 2. That seems to be the equation of this line, which means that that would have had to hit right on that dot. If I had good graph paper, it would have. I mean, I didn't feel too bad about how I did freehand on that. Did it work with both? 2 in for x. 2 plus 2 is 4, so that better be 4. Negative 3 for x. Negative 3 plus 2. Subtract and get a 1. Strong on the negative. Negative 1 better be y. Yeah, that's good. Let's take one more thing to do with this. Y equals x plus 2. We'll put 1s on each. They want me to get this in ax plus by equals c form. So I could certainly subtract 1y off each side and subtract 2 off each side, and I'll get this gone and that gone, and I have negative 2 on one side with x minus y on the other. That's saying x minus y equals negative 2. That should do it. Some other people would say, wait, always get it on the left. Yeah, I wound up with it on the left, but how about this? Y equals, what do we have? X plus 2, we put the 1s in, and they say, let's get that x over here. Gone. Okay, so now we got negative 1x plus 1y equals a positive 2. We need to lead with a positive, so we're going to divide each side by negative 1, each term by negative 1, and we're going to get opposite of negative 1, that's x, plus 1 over negative 1, negative 1y, even call it, if you want, minus y, equals, and 2 over negative 1 is negative 2. It's just a different way to get it. But there you'll see that those work, because if you take x minus y, 2 minus 4 should get me negative 2, and it does. And then negative 3, this is a little trickier. Negative 3 minus negative 1, work with that, but negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Those are good. This will be the end of my support work for homework 16, as we finished up homework 16.3 right there. Oh, you kill it from there?
Yep.
Oh, those bunnies are good, aren't they?
Yeah, those are good drinking.